Hi, Des Pheby, franchise entrepreneur. Today's podcast, I want to talk to you about family businesses, what's happening to them, what's been happening to them in the past, how you can attract and retain family members into the business, the methods of doing that, and how you can scale your business going forward, which will help the longevity of your business. So to start with, you may have noticed, so let's look at restaurants, because that's obviously where my main background is in and where my main expertise is in. So observations on restaurants, and this has been going on for probably a number of years, especially with the Chinese and Indian businesses, but it's not just limited to them. It's they can be any ethnic background, but what tends to happen is founding members, they set up these restaurants or whatever business it is, and it gets to a point where the founding member is hoping to pass that on to his children or relatives, and there just is not the interest there from them. And this has become a lot more obvious these days, because with new technology, with more people going to university, more opportunities for youngsters these days to have different careers. There's more and more people going to university. Back in the day when I was a kid, it was probably maybe only about 15% of the children that left school went on to further education. Now it's the vast majority. So there are more opportunities, more of them go to universities, children have more expectations. Now they not necessarily want to go into the family business, and particularly if they've seen their father or mother or family working in that business for a number of years, and they've seen what it's taken for them to keep and maintain those businesses, and in particularly if those businesses have not moved on. If it's one restaurant, or maybe even it's only two restaurants, or if it's a corner shop, or it's a small furniture shop or something like that, why would they want to carry that on? It's not of interest to them. They've gone to university, they've studied, why would they want to come back into it? So what do you do? What do you do to keep your business alive, so it continues to generate income, not just for your retirement years, but also it's a family asset? You may have spent 20, 30 years building that business, and it would be such a shame to see that business then evaporate before your very eyes because you can't attract family into it. You're beginning to lose interest in it yourself because naturally you want to retire, you want to move the business on. You're faced with only a few options. You sell that business, which can be an emotional, difficult thing to do. If it's something you've been working on for a number of years, businesses lose their shine. You lose your enthusiasm for a business, particularly if you're approaching retirement. So that business may not be worth as much as what it was. So it's all about timing. It's all about when is the right time for you to be looking to protect your asset, to potentially look at where and what it is that you're aiming to do in your retirement. Is it an opportunity for you to still keep it within the family, or is it something that maybe you need to bring in outside management and there's the potential for you to continue to earn money from it? Or you sell it, but you sell it early enough that you've not lost the enthusiasm for the business, and therefore it's lost its shine and its attraction and its earning potential for any new person coming in to buy it. So when's the right time to be looking at it? Well, basically from day one. If it's a business that you're looking to retain and you want to keep it in the family. So for instance, you take an example of my business. Now, presently I have about 18 individual stores that are open. There's a mixture of franchised restaurants and company-owned restaurants, and we have a number of other brands within there. Now, I made a decision a number of years ago that only having one or two was not what I wanted. I was more ambitious than that, but I also had one eye on the fact that, what's going to happen in the future. If I was to leave my business to my children, I wanted to leave something that was of a decent size that would be attractive to them, but also valuable asset going forward as well. Now, that business has been running a number of years. I've got two young children who are 6 and 9. I've worked out that I've probably got 15 years to get the business to a state where it isn't just about restaurants, and that it's also of a size that will hopefully be more attractive to my children, because I'm hoping that they'll go to university. Now, they may not necessarily want to get involved in the business at some point in the future. It doesn't matter how big I make it or how attractive. They may not want to get involved, but they're more likely to if I give them more options. So if the business is diversified, it's not just about restaurants, it's about we've got our own shop fit team. In 15 years, we will certainly want and need a surveyor. We will certainly be looking to have owned and renovate our own properties for both commercial and residential use. And we've got a number of different brands. We've also got a social media company that is doing personal branding. So we're already moving into different sectors. We're also setting up a training academy as well. This podcast is part of my branding going forward. So there's a number of options. So in 10-15 years time, when my children leave university, they won't just look at the business as a restaurant. They will look at it and say, well, okay, look, this is a business that has multiple options for me: accountancy, training, HR, solicitors, and then the restaurant side. And then maybe if they don't want to do that, it may be more hands-on. They may want to be a chef. They may want to do the building side of it. So it's a lot more likely that they are going to be attracted to the business. Now, any one of you can do this, whether you've got one business now, whether you've got 2 or 3, to start planning forward. There's a real temptation that you have one restaurant or you have one business and it provides the living that you want now, and it provides a good living. And I've had so many conversations with people in the past where they've said, they can't get their family attracted to the business, they're leaving university, the business has been good to them, it's provided the living, etc, 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 but the business is going to go because we want to retire. And it's, well, what did you do to expand that business when you had the opportunity? And the answer is always nothing. They've taken the money out, they've spent the money, they've bought themselves the really nice house, they've had a really good living, they've had a good life from it, and that's fine. If that's all you wanted, then by all means crack on, that's what you do. But if your aim was to continue with that asset that you've been working on for 20-30 years and you didn't want to see it die, then you have to invest in it, and you have to invest in the vision that you have of that business going forward and the opportunities for your children to come and be involved in it. Even if they don't want to be involved in it, it means that you could potentially put a management structure in place where your family can continue to benefit from that asset that you've spent so many years building up. I think it's criminal that so many businesses fall by the wayside because the owner just did not think it through for the future. There's such a big opportunity there for that asset to just continue to keep on earning the money, the passive income. All it needed was a plan at the right stage. So plan it out as early as you can. Maybe you haven't got children already, but look to see how you can develop your business, how it can continue to earn you income, not just for 5, 6, 7, 10 years or 20 years, but well into the future. So all of that time that you've invested into it, that asset continues to be an asset for years going forward. You know, people talk about property being a great asset, which it obviously is. But the thing with property is that you just keep hold of it and keep hold of it. There's no reason why you can't think of a business in exactly the same mode. You know, and after all, a business is more likely to earn you an ongoing passive income than a property. Property will go up in capital value, but a business can keep earning you money for many years to come, and it can be an asset to your family for years to come, regardless of whether your children want to get involved in it or not. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was probably, you know, my late 30s. So your children may leave university, they may not want to get involved in it, but if that business is there and providing them an income and providing you an income and helping support them do the things that they actually do want to do, then that is a very, very valuable asset to have, and it's something that you should not dismiss lightly. And after all, people change their mind. You know, what I wanted to do when I was 20 is completely different from what I wanted to do when I was 35. Your children may come round to the idea, and not only that, it's not just about your children, it's about your grandchildren. Maybe your grandchildren would want to get involved. Businesses can go on from generation to generation. They don't have to die after 4, 5, 6, 10 years. I fully intend to have my business in 30 years. And I'm hoping that regardless of whether my family want to be involved in it or not, it will continue to generate income, it will diversify, it will become different sections and different sectors. We'll have property, we'll have our shop fitting, we will have our media side of things, and we will have our core business, which is currently our core, is our restaurants and multiple brands. So there's lots going on there. And I think if we can have strength in depth and a strong core, you can always bolt on things to your business, just as I'm doing at the moment. You know, your children may not want to get involved in the asset as it is and as it stands at the moment. But if you can explain to them and say, well, okay, look, it started off with restaurants, and then I got interested in this and I got interested in that, and we bolted that on and we bolted that on, and the business became a lot bigger because I was interested in those other things. And quite simply, your children can then stamp their personality on the business as well. Because the reality is when children take over from their parents, more often than not, you know, the business is in the parents' it's got all their personality stamped over that business. You know, it's in their image. And that can be a hard thing for children to come in and then start making changes to. Particularly, they're not just going to come in and take it over from day one. The chances are that the parent is still going to be around for a while and looking over their shoulder and gently easing them into sections of the business for them to take over. That's difficult because the parent wants to make sure that the business is in good hands and not everything is changed overnight. And you know, the children want to come in and decide to make some changes, to stamp their authority, to take maybe the business in a slightly different direction. The bigger the business is, the more likely it's able to handle that situation, because quite simply what you can do is say, well, okay, look, son, daughter, you look after this section of the business over here, show me what you can do there, you can run that the way in which you want to, and whilst you're doing that, I will continue to oversee the remaining part of the business. So they can gently come in and start to get their feet under the table, start to prove what they can do and shape that element of the business the way in which they want to. Alternatively, they can bring a completely new part into the business. So they may be solicitors, you know, they may have trained to be a solicitor. Well, there's nothing wrong with them not only handling all the legal documentation, etc., for the existing business, but they could also set up then their own solicitors firm and therefore bolt that onto the main business. So they can take it into a completely different direction. There's no reason why they should just set up on their own. They can still have an affiliation with the main business. So there's lots and lots of options which you will not have if you do not invest in your business in the early stages to take it forward and to expand. Don't moan about your children not getting involved in the business if you don't do anything to attract them and keep them in the business. So, that's, I guess, my main point is if you want a legacy, you want to keep your business within the family, or you want it to carry on earning, and you don't want to have wasted those 30 years. I say wasted, they're not wasted. You've managed to get your livelihood from it, but it doesn't have to die with your retirement. No business has to die with retirement. It's an asset. Keep it as an asset. Think of it as an asset. Nurture it and keep on investing in it for your family and for yourself going forward. When you retire, you can continue to earn some income from this. So to summarise, in order to keep family interests in your business, you need to plan early for succession, regardless of whether that is for the family to take it over, or it's for a management structure put in place. Single unit businesses don't tend to last beyond the founder's retirement, and that's a fact. Businesses who are particularly vulnerable are Asian and Indian ethnic backgrounds, because historically they could rely on family to take over those businesses. And as I've said previously, the youth of today is much more likely to go to university, has higher expectations, and is unlikely to want to take over those businesses. And you've seen that every single day. It's a fact that a lot of Indian restaurants are closing down because they can no longer attract the family members into the business, and that's exactly the same for the Chinese community as well. But it's not unique to them, but it certainly impacts them in a significant way. So plan ahead, plan the structure that you want, plan for your retirement, plan to create a business that can continue to give you and your family a passive income going forward, regardless of whether your family members want to be part of that business in the future. In order to make that business more attractive for your family, diversify, make it bigger, make it more interesting, give your children options, and try and introduce them into the business at as an early age as possible to help them understand the business and what it has and what potential it has for them in the future. They may just look at it as a one-dimensional business, and you can show them that no, it can be anything that they want. They can make their future dreams come true with this business by taking it in various different directions. This gives them a strong foundation, and they should use that foundation to build their lives on, just as you have built yours.